2020. Hi, I'm Ray of Sunshine. Glad you're with me today. So, 20 minutes and 20 seconds was the amount of time on the before video. And B4 is the video before this one. This is B5. And I don't know how you stumbled across this video. Maybe somebody sent it to you. Maybe you're already in a different series and you got sent back this way. And I'm going to keep doing that over and over and over again, just like I repeat myself about other things over and over and over again. So that's something you have to look forward to, but I'm going to keep repeating it over and over again until it finally sinks in. I know how you are. I'm the same way. So 2020 was the amount of time on the before video, and all of the previous videos to this one are before videos. And the significance of those is that you can't really have after videos until you have before videos. So I'm going to keep sending you back to some of the before videos so you can see the progression, because that's the whole idea of this series. And on a lot of those videos, I talk about going from the old world energy into the new world energy, and driving in the dark for all those thousands of years and all those lifetimes. And that we're on the hump. We're just getting over the hump now, on our way into a different consciousness, a higher consciousness, an elevated awareness. And so as I'm developing the different formats here, and I mentioned this also in a previous video, that the formats are kind of overlapping, I'm finding, because I'm in the process of delivering, like this one, for example, the B series, which is different than, there's similarities to all the different formats. They're all Ray of Sunshine. I'm Ray of Sunshine here, just like I was in the 1 through 6 video collection, even though it's very different. There's different filters, I guess you might say, that I use on the different formats. But sometimes the filters overlap. And that's what I was explaining in yesterday's video, because I'm, rehearsing in a sense for the C series, which is coming up, and it's going to be different than all the previous series. And if the only way you can discover that is if you go look at the previous series. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, number one, because it's an opportunity for you to discover how you deal with discovering something different. And as I talk about in many of my other videos, I'm preparing for different on the horizon. That's going to be more different than anything we've ever seen before. And the way I'm doing that is by doing something different every day to discover something different. And I'm encouraging you to do the same way. Do the same thing, because different is on the horizon like we ain't never seen. So it's a matter of getting ready for it. And I taught in a lot of those previous videos, I have examples of different things that I've done every day, and how it's opened up different things for me. So in the C series, for example, no, this is the B series. Although you might be confused, you're going to see some C elements mixed in, and that's what happened yesterday with yesterday's before video. I had reviewed it before I published it, and I said, oh boy, there's some C seeping in over there, and maybe you'll understand that more once the C series is underway, or maybe you've already looked at, you might have already looked at, who knows what series you've already looked at before you came to look at this one. It might have taken you a long time to get back to the beginning of the series and discover what's there for you, because there's something for you to discover. I don't know where it is, and so it's up to you to find it. But it's here somewhere in this whole video progression. So I'm going to keep sending you back there, and you're going to at the end of this video, you're going to see boxes on the side of my head that is going to send you to some of those places. And another thing that I recommend, because it's easy and you can do it right now, you can do it very easily, very quickly, and get it out of your system, because you're going to see you'll hear when you check out some of my other videos, some of the different things that I did, and some of the different things I'm discovering. Back then, my goal was to discover something different at least once a day by doing something different, something that would be out of character. And you can do that by sending this video to some character that it would be out of character for you to send it to. And maybe that's how you got this video to begin with. I don't know how you stumbled across this video, but you might be doing somebody a favor And so see what happens. Do something different to discover something different. And the other thing that I give a lot of examples of and that I've been doing every day is letting go of something that no longer serves me. Make room for something different because different's coming. Different is happening. And in, I think it was maybe video number 5, I talk about that, and the whole and the energy, and I talk about, well, these guys here, I introduced them back in my videos number 1 or video number 2, my monks, and they represent the old world and the new world. They look a lot like each other, but they're very different. So I tell a lot about those kind of stories in my previous videos. But more significant is that you'll be able to see progression, just like the progression that we're in, moving through the different energies that we've been waiting a long time for. I've been waiting for thousands of years. I don't know how many thousands of years, but I suspect that it's a lot. I suspect that I'm an old soul. Suspect that a lot of people who are with me on this journey are old souls, and we're crossing the threshold. So I'm finding a lot of people, like my friend Fran, for example, who I believe it's before yesterday's video that I talked about when I met Fran, who used to work with me, because I needed a Ghostbuster. And all of a sudden, one day she brings up the topic about Ghostbusting. And the funny part is, well, I don't know if it's funny, but it's a coincidence that just today I got an email from Fran, and I have not heard from Fran in years and years and years. Anyway, I tell the story about Fran on that other video, and you can check it out there. But she came into my awareness along with this other couple that I had known back around that same time frame in my life. And I was living at a retreat center up in that area in the Berkshires at the time. And I met this other couple. They were kitchen workers, and I became friendly with the kitchen workers because I like talking about food, and I like talking about, well, maybe you can change some of these recipes, and maybe you can do this, and maybe you can do that. So they became friendly with me. They were younger, and Noel was born Jamaican. And he moved to this country at a very young age, and he had big long dreads. And Becca was this small little cute thing with long dark straight hair. Anyway, they were madly in love, and we became pretty good friends. We'd hang out at each other's place. And have dinners together, and we did lots of things together. So it was long term. For a couple of years I had known them, and then one day during that period of time, I was just learning how to do card readings, tarot card readings. And the way that happened is somebody gave me a set which sat on the shelves, and then because I didn't have the confidence, I didn't think I had the ability, but one day I grabbed it and I started working with it, and it came with a little book. So just prior to this segment that I'm talking about with Noel and Becca, I had spent a lot of time learning the cards, and I'd have people sit down, and I'd open up the book and I'd say, this is the spread, this is what this means, this card means that in this position means this and that, and I'd read out of the book and that's how I started. But then eventually the cards started speaking to me, and I started getting clear messages, and so I went bonkers with this, and I was doing card reading for everybody that had 2 legs and could breathe. So I had been going through that for a few years at that time, a couple of years at least, maybe 3 or 4, and I was becoming pretty good at it. So one day, Becca and Noel say to me, "Hey, how about a tarot card reading?" I said, "Well, what I've been wanting to try is to do a couples reading, because I've never done that before. Either a couple that's romantically entangled, a couple, could be brother and sister, could be any kind of couple, any kind of people that knew each other, but that was an area that I was interested in pursuing." And they said, "Yeah, let's give that a try." So I did that for them. I did a reading for them, and some surprising messages came up, because what was going on with them on the outside was different than what was really going on the inside. It was different than what was going on behind closed doors, and I could see that in the cards. And I'm bringing that up because, it reminded me of the immense responsibility that you have when you're in a position like that. And I really, I appreciate, I admire, I'm in great appreciation of a lot of the tarot card readers now, the ones that on YouTube, and they do these collective readings, and I'm just astounded at some of the messages. It's just like, it's the same thing as the messages that I send out. The messages that I send out are going to be interpreted in different ways by different people, because you're going to hear what you need to hear at any specific time, even though the person down the street from you or the person on the other side of the world from you is hearing the same words. They might be getting a different message from those same words, and it'll happen in different time frames. And so that's the way the whole system works, which is why it's important for you to get your butt over there and look at the progression of this, because there's a message there in that for you. So the reason I'm bringing this up is about Noel and Becca, because that was a very difficult reading for me to do, because I had to tell them, you look good, you look nice and shiny on the outside, and I don't really know, it was awkward, I don't really know how to tell you this, but I can only sugarcoat it so much. I got to tell you what's really happening here. What's happening here is, tell me, there's a lot of disagreement going on. There's a lot of dissatisfaction. There's, on both sides, there's dreaming about what would be like to not be chained in this relationship, because although there was some elements of maybe fun and enjoyment and pleasure that they sometimes experience, there was a clash, and the clash was making it difficult for them to be together. And it was a difficult reading, and it wasn't long after that, the next day, that they ended up breaking up. And I wasn't telling them anything that they didn't already know. They sat there and looked at me in tears, and they said, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. But I had the responsibility, I had to take the responsibility of presenting it to them in that way. And that's exactly the way that's going to happen in this particular series here. I'm going to tell you like it is. And the reason I'm telling you this whole story is because you're going to see, when you see this progression in the video series, you're going to see that I reveal things as in different ways, obviously, in the different formats as we go along. The way, the format, the presentation, even to some degree the content in that 1 through 6 video collection is very different than the upcoming collection. Then they're going to be different than the C collection, even though you get a little bit of a peek of it. And you're going to continue to get a peek of it, because I can't help it. They just overlap, and that's how transformation works. They overlap. That was another reason I sat in this particular area of my sanctuary, because I have all these dragons here behind me. I don't know if you can see them on the screen there, but there's dragons and there's horses. The other day I was talking, I had a seahorse airing, and that led me over to the horse spirit guide, and I'm familiar with what that message is. But I said, hey, there's another message hidden there for me, which is why this is being brought to my attention. And I finally got to go check it out this morning. And horse is the message of power, and how we were introduced to the concept of power with horse medicine on this planet, and it affects us at different levels. And it talked about all of those different levels that horse represents. But mostly, what it was saying, and the message that I discovered for myself, was with horse medicine, it's a matter of taking responsibility. It's not just a matter of delivering the message. It's delivering the message in a responsible way. And so that's what I need to do, whether it's uncomfortable or not. And that's the same thing that's going to happen in this particular series, because I disclose different elements at different levels. I've disclosed a lot more in the B series than I have in the A series, and certainly in the 1 through 6 series. And there's going to be more than that coming up in the C series, which is pretty much starting right now. The C series overlapped at least halfway through the B series, so you'll be easing into it, but there'll be greater revelations. So I'm just telling you about that. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm here to say it like it is. So that's what's going to be happening in some of those. The other thing that occurred to me as I was looking through the videos, which I do one last time before I publish them, to make sure everything's okay, is I was thinking, some of these videos, it might be a little bit misleading because it sounds like that, I have a bottomless pocketbook and I'm rich and I take time off to do this, and all the different adventures that I go on, and so I'm thinking, wow, that sounds like somebody that's rich, but it's not that I'm rich, and I just felt I needed to point that out because I didn't want to be misleading in any way. So a lot of the adventures that I've been on, and particularly in the 1 through 6 videos, I talk the 1 through 6 video collection, I believe, is what it's called over in the playlist section. That'll become very obvious. So, and the other thing that I wanted to cover is because I have developed sort of a theme, which is becoming obvious in the previous videos, which you would only know if you went to take a look at them, and you will eventually. And meanwhile, I'll just keep reminding you that there's something there for you to discover, how you deal with discovering different. So I'll keep reminding you of that, and I'll keep reminding you of doing something different to discover something different. So, I've developed sort of a theme, which happens at the end of the videos, and it's about to happen at the end of this video, and I talk about it's playtime, create you. And the idea for that developed with the beginning of the series, because in a lot of those videos, especially that 1 through 6 series, it's an introduction of me, an introduction of a lot of the elements in my life that are represented by stuff that's hanging around, literally hanging around here in my sanctuary. So I give you a tour of all of that, and of me, and you discover things about me, you discover things about you. I recommend, if you haven't been back there to look at any of those, you'll be able to click on the box on the side of my head, and one of them will be my pilot video. And my pilot video talks about a distressing time in my life, and a time when there was not so much as a pinpoint of light, and I know that's something that a lot of people can relate to. And this whole video series is about that process. It's about me pulling out from that process. So that first video, the pilot video, is a little bit of a different format, although I have included it in the Learning, Loving, Living series, because it's appropriate, because it's exactly about that, and that's exactly what every one of my presentations is about, in a relatively short format, because my goal is to keep all of my presentations half hour or less, and they're going to be developing into even shorter periods, at least for the C series coming up. So you'll get to see that soon, and meanwhile, so I'll catch you on one of those videos. Meanwhile, it's playtime, create you.